Hello and welcome to the Property Investor Podcast. The podcast, of course, where I speak to some of the most interesting, inspiring and resilient people in property investing and beyond. I, of course, am your host, Paul Lanfear. Now, as ever, before we get started, my inner lawyer needs to tell you nothing in the podcast is financial, health, legal advice. Always do your own due diligence and seek your own professional help. You will have noticed that this is part of a series, a mini series of the podcast, separate from the long form ones, where I have the pleasure of speaking to what I call the Inner Circle All-Stars. So these are the All-Stars that I've had the very great pleasure of working with for a year or even a year or two. It is part of my Inner Circle mentoring program. And I am delighted to introduce today's guest. So today's guest is Daniel Scott. Daniel, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for having me on. Pleasure.
My pleasure. It's I'm very grateful for you coming on the podcast. So we've obviously had the pleasure this year of working together for a complete year as part of Inner Circle. So tell the good people where you were when you joined the Inner Circle program.
So I had been in property for 12 years, of which 1.5 years were full-time in property. I've got a mixture of student properties, some HMOs and residential. So it was kind of just progressing from there, really.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the thing is not to be missed within that sentence is that you were already kind of effectively financially free. You had been there, seen it and done it, and had kind of, in many ways, I mean, maybe these are not your words, but you'd already kind of mastered a lot of the property stuff.
Yeah, that's right. I'd say so. Obviously, mastered might be a calm word, but yeah, I've been in property quite a long time, so I've seen a lot, and just slowly building up the business, more so in the later years.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so what were the problems and challenges that you had at the start of the program?
Probably knowing where to go next.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously a lot of people were doing commercial conversions, so I wanted to have a look at those, especially probably more personally my time management.
Mm-hmm.
Always seem really busy, but then you actually look back in the day and probably not done that much. So yeah, time management and self-discipline.
Cool. And in what ways then did sort of the program help? What insights did you have? What progress has it allowed you to make?
It's helped me a lot with time management and planning my day out. Now on a Sunday, I might just sit down for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and just try and plan the week out if I haven't planned it out the week before. I've had a diary all this year, so every day something gets entered, what I've done, what I haven't done, and tasks going forward. So that's been one of the biggest helps, time management, and just general business as well. Doubling down on what works, not always looking for the shiny penny of the projects. Yeah, I know we've discussed a lot of things now, one-to-one, different alternatives like commercial conversions, and if they're viable, if they're not viable. So all that's been really helpful and great.
Really good. And I mean, you definitely have sort of doubled down this year, because obviously you and the team that you work with, you have done a lot. You are well established, let's put it that way. And one of the things that we have discussed is if something is going really well is, as you say, not necessarily to look for the shiny penny, but like kind of really drill it home. You don't have to share this, but would you share how many projects you've managed to get done this year?
I think these projects this year, we've done 2 or 3 projects, and we've also bought a couple more what haven't been projects. They've just been rent straight out. We've also got a couple of the first time houses that were already rented out. So We've done, I think, about 6 this year, including some projects. A couple of projects we finished off from 2021. So it's been a really busy year for us.
Brilliant. And I mean, you've not only just been doing the property work, you had quite a remarkable trip to the Alps. So tell us a little bit about the 2023 Alps cycling adventure.
Yeah, I've been before. I think it was a couple of years ago. I think last year it didn't happen because of COVID, but went to the Alps and was cycling there, and you're either going up or you're going down. But yeah, that was really good. Was that? I really enjoyed it.
I saw some amazing pictures of you like standing effectively on the top of mountains at like 200 meters above sea level and all that business.
Yeah, we did a lot of climbs, and each climb is a monument. So a lot of them were on the Tour de France.
Oh, nice.
So you can send off these monuments on the internet. I don't know how many we did. Probably about 8 or 9, I think. Maybe some more actually, because I think one day we did 3. So legs were tired that day.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So it's not all just about getting the work done. Quite the opposite, I would say. It's always good to have another project to work on. In fact, that's pretty much one of the things we insist upon. But not that you have to cycle up the Alps. That's not compulsory. So tell us a bit about the future then. So where are you going next? What does the future look like for you guys?
Never 100% sure in the future. Probably never will be. But it's. I'm just going to try and double down on, as we've said, double down on what works and what's enjoyable. It's also about just getting rid of the tasks you don't like doing or the bits you don't like doing. So you've got to have time, which I've learned this year. Like every quarter, try and do your monthly goals, your quarterly goals, as we do from the discovery day each year, and try and just eliminate what you're not enjoying. So pretty much double down on what's working and what I'm enjoying, and just carry on like that. If opportunities come. If they don't.
And have you got any more cycling adventures planned, or is it too early days to make a decision on that?
We're looking at going to the Alps again next year, or might even go to Italy next year. Not 100% sure. It's not certain, but there'll be certainly more cycling trips,
more adventures to come. Very good.
Absolutely.
So if somebody's listening or watching this podcast and maybe they've been to a breakfast, maybe they've been to Discovery Day, they're thinking about the inner circle and they're kind of a little bit on the fence, what advice would you give them if somebody was thinking about the inner circle?
I think if you're thinking about it and you know what it is, you're probably there. You're probably ready for it. It's probably is your next move. I wouldn't say it's for total beginners, but if you've got a couple of properties and you know where you want to go, get in touch with yourself, have a chat, and you can walk them through it. And if it's for them, it more than likely will be. Come to Discovery Day, have get some kind of plan. The Inner Circle will help you in so many ways. It's the best support group. We have weekly targets, and we have accountability managers. Look after ourselves in the group. It's really good.
And I'm right in thinking that this was the first ever kind of property course thing that you'd ever even done. So you'd like successfully just been smashing it away for 12 years, like kind of, on your own patch, doing your own thing. And this was like the first time you've actually been part of a group. Is that right? Is that my understanding?
Yeah,
correct?
That's right. I was quite surprised when we all first introduced to each other in the group in our first meeting. A lot of people have done quite a few different courses over the years, but yeah, this is the first one I've been on. Obviously, I've known you before, and we've known each other quite a few years pre-COVID, I think, coming to the breakfasts.
Yeah.
So I knew yourself, so I knew it was it worth the investment. I knew the people that had been on it, and they've given some really valuable feedback. So yeah, I thought it was the next stage for me. And it's property focused, but it's not just about property. It's other businesses, and it's a lot about personal yourself as well. Like say time management, and getting your personal goals. I say we do those weekly targets. It's not just business targets; it's personal targets. If that's exercising, eating healthily, booking a holiday, whatever it can be. That's just it's just a great support network as well. Pushes you on to hit those targets, whatever they are, personal or business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do, I see it like quite holistically. I think like our personal goals and our personal aspirations in life are almost as important as our business ones, because they sit so side by side. I would say, for example, that your trip to the Alps has probably had quite an impact on your work, even though we don't necessarily see it that way. I do see the link between these things in, looking inwards at people.
100%. When you're just cycling at 3 miles an hour for 2 hours, climbing the same mountain, you think about all sorts of personal, family, friends, what you've done, what you haven't done, what you should do, what's annoyed you. I mean, if something's annoying you in business, you try and get rid of that, or personally, maybe a friend you don't like. But yeah, exercise is a big fan of it. I do a lot of running as well.
Cool.
But
Awesome.
yeah, clear the head.
So then, in terms of if somebody watches this video and kind of is keen to learn a bit more about you, like where would you point them to? Do you want to point them to your website, to your social stuff? What's the place to point them to?
Probably my website, which is scottlets.co.uk, or they can find me on Facebook under Daniel Scott. I am on Instagram, but I'm not quite sure my name on that one, but my Facebook is linked to my Instagram. LinkedIn as well, Daniel Scott. Usual socials.
Very good. I shall gather those together and put them in the show notes. So look, thank you very much, Daniel. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you this year, and just wishing you continued success, both in property, but also, with your other aspirations, including your business ones as well.
Thank you very much, Paul. It's been great speaking to you.
Okay, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. To discuss property investing, all the things in this podcast, please do come to a Property and Investor Breakfast. Subscribe to the podcast, follow it. Do follow me on social media. My links are below. Thank you very much for listening to the podcast, and keep well.